Hey there, welcome. Today, we're going to level up your English. We're moving past that textbook sound and diving right into the natural, everyday phrases that people actually use. You ever have that feeling? You know all the grammar, you know the vocabulary, but then you hear native speakers talking and it's like, wait, what did they just say? It can feel like a totally different language sometimes, right? Well, the secret is almost always in the phrases they use. So, think of this as the key to unlocking that next level. We're going to break down some really common phrases that will help you sound way more natural and, honestly, feel a lot more confident in any conversation. Okay, first up, let's look at phrases we use for actions and ideas. These are like the essential building blocks for getting more complex thoughts out there clearly. Let's start with a simple one, the word consider. Now, consider is a totally fine word, nothing wrong with it. But to sound a bit more natural, try using take into account. It just adds a little extra flavor, you know? So what does it really mean? It's simple. It just means you're remembering a specific detail when you're making a judgment or a decision. You're actively including it in how you're thinking about something. In this example, see, you aren't just kind of thinking about the weather. No, you're actively including that information in your plans. See how the phrase feels a bit more involved? A bit more deliberate? That's the difference. All right, next up, let's trade out the basic verb understand for something with a little more punch, make sense of. And here's the key difference. We tend to use make sense of when something isn't super obvious. It's for when you're trying to figure out something complex or maybe even a little confusing. It implies there's a process, a bit of work involved. Oh, this example is perfect. A baby isn't just passively understanding the world, right? They're actively putting the pieces together, trying to figure it all out. It's all about creating meaning out of what seems like chaos. Let's move on. Next, we're going to explore some phrases for talking about people and plans. Using these is such a great way to make your English sound more personal and just, well, more real. So instead of just saying you argue with someone, a really common expression, especially in British English, is to have a row. The key thing to get here is that a row is not some calm disagreement. No way. This phrase implies real emotion. We're talking about a noisy, angry argument. It definitely packs a much stronger punch than just saying you argued.
When you read this, you can feel the tension, can't you? Marianne isn't just trying to avoid a discussion, she's trying to prevent a big, loud fight with her parents. That phrase paints a much clearer, more vivid picture.
Okay, here's one you will hear absolutely everywhere. Instead of the more formal contact, we almost always say, get in touch with.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. It just means to communicate with someone, whether it's by phone, email, text, whatever. In this sentence, she didn't just contact him, she got in touch. Doesn't that sound so much warmer and more personal? It's just a very natural, common way to say it.
Okay, you've been listening for a bit. Now it's your turn. Time to put what we've learned into practice. Let's see if you can use these phrases. This is how we really make things stick. All right, take a look at this sentence. How would you change participate in to a phrase that uses the word part? Go ahead and pause here if you need a moment to think it over.
How'd you do? Did you get it? The phrase is take part in. So the sentence becomes, students are expected to take part in leisure activities. It means the exact same thing as participate, but it's a phrase you'll hear constantly. Awesome job if you got that one right. Let's try one more. How would you rewrite this sentence using that phrase we just learned with the word touch? Contacting a doctor on a Sunday can be difficult. Again, feel free to hit pause and work it out. And the answer is, it can be difficult to get in touch with a doctor on a Sunday. See how that structure is a bit different but sounds so much more natural than the original? Fantastic work. So after all of that, what's the one big thing you should take away from this? Let's boil it all down. Here's the key idea. I want you to think of these phrases as your bridge. They are what will take you from speaking English that is correct to speaking English that sounds truly natural and fluent. You're learning to use the same tools native speakers use without even thinking about it. And that brings us to the end. But I've got one last question for you. Which one of these new phrases are you going to challenge yourself to use this week? Pick one and just try to use it. Because really, the only way to learn them is to actually start using them. Happy learning!